Making sure they're not opening the floodgates on the sales end without being prepared proportionally on the operations end. Having an inefficient process and that bottlenecks that we see is one of the biggest issues that we've been noticing here. Bottlenecks that we see most are in that permitting phase, right? One is having inaccuracy site surveys.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Solar Surge channel. Today we're coming to you from Solar and Storage Live in Philadelphia. And this morning I'm joined by Parker Schramm, co-founder of EnergyScape Renewables, and we're going to be talking about how solar companies are finding success in today's more challenging environment. So Parker, really good to meet you. Welcome to the Solar Surge channel.
You as well, thank you so much.
All right. So, as you know, the last year has really been a doozy for the solar industry. Sales are down, prices are down. One of the things we're particularly interested in here is of the companies that are having success, particularly on the sales and install side of the business.
Right.
Of the companies that are having success, what are they doing differently than the companies that are struggling? What's your take?
So my take of it is twofold. One of them is properly doing due diligence, especially when they're scaling and looking at due diligence on which states to roll in, utility, rate structuring, the incentives, definitely, but making sure they're not opening the floodgates on the sales end without being prepared proportionally on the operations end. So what EnergyScape really focuses on is helping them streamline their business operations and making sure that there's kind of entropy between the sales, business operations, all the way to the installation, to where whenever they do open up the sales end, they're prepared and they're able to really streamline operations and not get bottlenecks. A lot of issues that we see, especially on the residential end, primarily everything's financed, right? The big majority of these projects are. So it's really important to get the PTO and get to install quicker so they can pull funding and the cash flow is moving properly, right? Mm-hmm. So having an inefficient process and that bottlenecks that we see is one of the biggest issues that we've been noticing here recently.
That's great. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand all of the complexities and the risks that the installers have to manage on these solar projects. For those that aren't as familiar at the operation side of the business as maybe we are, what are some of the things, what has to happen from when a solar contract is signed to when the actual install crew can roll and physically put panels on the roof?
Yeah, great question. So, first off, make sure you're selling it properly, right? So making sure that the sales proposals that you're providing to the customer, one, is accurate, and also they're properly recording your SRECs, the production and the estimation of the system itself is key. What we see is so many inaccuracies up front, which is going to be change orders, going back to the customers and the clients, right, and making really unhappy customers. So all the way from the start of that to post-contract, they're going to have to go through the financing in, right? Then we're going to have to do something called the design in, the permit package. They're going to have to do a PE stamping on it. Then they have to go through and apply to the utility for their interconnection and the AHJ for the permit. After that as well, then you schedule the install after procurement and all that. So the bottlenecks that we see most are in that permitting phase, right? One is having inaccuracy site surveys. And then when it comes to the design and engineering phase, we're getting a lot of kickbacks and bottlenecks with those jurisdictions and those utilities. It's hard to do your due diligence as much as possible to understand their specific requirements with them, but timelines right now, even to collect the permit, could be anywhere from 15 to 30 days. Some jurisdictions being easy, some jurisdictions, oh my gosh, it could be around 45 days, right?
Sure.
But they might go in there not really understanding those specific requirements. Now you have a revision that kicks back. Your timeline's coming from 15 to 30 days now to even double 2 months, 3 months. And the more volume that an EPC has, the more that's going to bottleneck on. So.
Absolutely, and you mentioned earlier scaling up, scaling down. I mean, that's one of the things I think is very difficult as an install company, is if your sales double, then you need double the capacity and you need to get there quickly. A lot of times that can be a bumpy process for the installers. But same thing if you contract, if sales contract 50% and you got to reduce your cost, to reduce your capacity by 50% to stay profitable, that can be a challenge as well. So how are you all helping at EnergyScape? How are you helping EPCs managing these kind of challenges as far as scaling up, scaling down?
Sure, so it's what we do. We like to consider our stuff. We are an engineering and design service company, but we are releasing an all-encompassing solution and services for these EPCs. So we take care of anything from the sales proposals to those permit packages. We do the site surveys, so we insist on that as well. And then also we do the permit packages, the PE stamping, the interconnection applications, and the permitting applications, right? So literally an NPC can just focus on selling, scaling, doing the installation portion, and we take care of everything business operations side. We are nationwide, plus Puerto Rico and U.S. Virgin Islands, and we do a lot of volume. We have about 140 plus clients, and we do about 6,000 permit packages on a monthly basis, and hundreds of thousands of sales proposals. So we leverage that volume and being nationwide, and we have a database, right? An AHJ and utility database to where we know exactly what their specific requirements are. And we invest in that big time, right? So we have over 9,000 AHJs and about 965, last I checked, utility companies on exactly the details. So it's understanding that is how we're able to reduce their installation timelines by half is what we've been proven to do.
Great. So if you're an installer then and you work with EnergyScape, you don't really have to worry about your back office admin staff, right? Just focus on install, trucks, tools, boots on the ground, and you guys take care of all the back office operation. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And what we saw last year with the interest rates, with the inflation, with the lender fees, everything that's going on right now, a lot of EPCs had to cut the fat, so to say. And solar's always been seasonal. So staff burden, having to train, rehire, all the externalities that come with staffing, we've been able to assist EPCs just by directly outsourcing. This is what we do. We know these markets, so if they state expands, we can help with them. And it's been really kind of beneficial on our end, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see the value in that too, because a lot of times when you talk about back office employees that are working on operational details, in other words, how to run a permit application, how to run an interconnection application, these are not trivial tasks, right? There's a lot of training involved with getting somebody up to speed on how to manage that process efficiently, then how to do it hundreds of times a month in some cases.
While trying to scale.
Right, yes. I could see why taking that administrative burden off the EPC's plate so they can literally just focus on install could be a benefit.
Yeah, and I always see the benefits of a hybrid method as well. So having internal staff there, and then also, taking overflow and outsourcing it as well. So there's always a good balance of not just only outsourcing too.
Okay. What are some other things that you see that companies that are staying profitable or companies that are growing in today's environment, what are some other things that you see that they're doing that maybe the ones that are struggling aren't?
I would say going into the right markets, really doing their due diligence and figuring out what states they're able to grow and excel in.
So what's your take on that, by the way? Because I know you said you guys are nationwide, so you have clients all over the country and the Caribbean as well. Which markets do you think are the healthiest right now as far as a solar installer looking to grow?
So biggest markets for us are California, Texas, Florida, New Jersey as well. Net metering 3.0, which really kind of affected the market in California. North Carolina actually just started this year as well. New Jersey, I'm pretty sure. So these key markets have kind of flipped to an energy storage. We're able to assist on that as well. EV charging stations were there too. But right now, just making sure that it's the utility rate structure. Net metering is number one as far as your return of investment. So making sure those proper states that you're going into provides a one-to-one net metering.
Right.
And obviously the good state tax credits too as well. So just making sure that the consumer themselves have a viable kind of ROI with solar is important. So due diligence, right?
Okay.
I've met some companies that want to go right into Florida, South Florida in particular as well. And some of those jurisdictions, Miami-Dade, Broward County, they don't understand the installation timelines as well. So understanding even the permitting and the utility application process as well, and those timelines is important.
Absolutely. Now, with batteries becoming more mainstream now, that's one of the things that we cover a lot on the Solar Surge, of course, is battery storage along with solar, and I know we're seeing battery attachment rates going up. How does that change the process as far as administratively when you're talking about installing solar with batteries as opposed to in the past just solar only grid tied?
Great question. So for us, what we see is really understanding batteries. Unfortunately, we've kind of seen some installers, EPCs, just have a simple reduction as a percentage on their usage on the clients, and it's technically not that easy, right? So really understanding how to use energy storage integrated with solar. Is it going to be whole home consumption? Are we going to have an essential loads panel, right? And what are those loads that they want to back up? And have a true understanding of how many hours we can back them up, and then how many days of autonomy that we want to provide and size the batteries. So we have these key variables that are really important to show and be transparent with the customer in their sales proposal, in their contract, and then also when it comes to the design phase, making sure we have the proper data up front, a good site survey, so installers aren't being confused, homeowners aren't being confused, and there's transparency throughout of exactly how this battery and the energy storage system is going to actually function with them on a daily basis is important.
Great. Yeah, I know. I mean, batteries are a much more complex installation. And of course, even once you get through the administrative process, just the physical install process can be more complicated as well. So,
yes, sir. Yeah.
I'm interested to see those companies that are doing batteries profitably.
Yes.
That's part of what we're trying to get out there. Is that look, this is how you do solar and storage the right way, because there are companies, particularly in markets like the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, where they've got unreliable power grid. Battery storage is the norm down there.
Yeah.
It's just coming into the mainstream here in the continental United States, but it's been the norm in the Caribbean and Hawaii for a while now. So there is a way you can do this right and you can make money at it.
Exactly, yes. And we're seeing more of it. Us as a company, we do a certification process anytime with a new technology, a new product that we actually do designing work with, and we translate that to our clients as well. We give them these site survey checklists, intake forms, and these details of, hey, this is exactly the requirements that we need. Try to educate them as well to make sure we do it the right way for, obviously, the consumer, right? Mm-hmm. That's the important thing.
Yeah, no, it's important. It's important because installers that are new to doing battery storage, I know because I've seen it on my own projects where they do the site survey. The surveyor wasn't briefed that it was a battery project, so then they send the surveyor out again with a more exhaustive checklist of, okay, we need to figure out where the batteries are going, we need additional photographs, you need to open up the electrical panels. It's just a different animal, so
exactly.
It comes with experience.
Very inefficient, and that's what we hate to see, and that's really what we do best, is we assist them, not only on the engineering and design phase, but really we streamline. We help them streamline, help them reduce timelines, and get to PTO quicker, right? Getting to the install, getting completion, and moving on to the next project a lot smoother, and it's stuff like that we just talked about.
Excellent. Well, Parker, is there anything else that the audience should know about how to have a successful solar business in 2024, or how to successfully, properly manage the operational part of the business?
I would say really make sure the biggest thing I see in timelines is the permitting and the utility portion of it. Make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure that you have efficiencies in your process. If it's with a CRM, if it's with your processes, SOPs in place, and making sure that really you understand that requirement needing to pull a permit is the biggest thing I can say.
Great. Well, folks, this has been a talk with Parker Schramm, co-founder of EnergyScape Renewables. Again, solar operations solution. Parker, if folks want to get in touch with you or your business, what's the best place to find you?
Definitely. So we are on our social medias as well, but our website is www.energyscaperenewables.com. There's a contact place, and we even have a chatter box as well to get a hold of us. You can put an inquiry, and somebody can reach out to you right away.
Great. Well, Parker, thanks for sitting down with us.
Really
great chatting with you. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Again, we're here at Solar and Storage Live 2024 in Philadelphia. And of course, that's why we come to the trade shows, is so that we can make sure that you all have the most up-to-date product and industry information. But with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. And as always, I'm Joe Ordia here, encouraging you to get prepared and be empowered. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.